What if I told you that some of Nigeria's richest billionaires did not build their empires in Lagos, not in Victoria Island, not in Ikoyi, not in Abuja, but in Nnewi, in Aba, in Anambra, and in Abia? While others exported their wealth, they embedded it in factories. While others chased power, they built production. While others left home, they turned home into industry. Tonight, 1010 Media takes you inside the secret economic engine of Southeast Nigeria, where automobiles, cables, oil products, energy infrastructure, and agribusiness empires are being built far from the spotlight and changing Nigeria forever. This is not motivation. This is not opinion. This is documented economic power. And by the end of this video, you will never look at Igbo wealth or Nigerian development the same way again. In Nigeria, wealth usually migrates from villages to cities, from cities to capitals, from capitals to offshore accounts. Factories move to Lagos, headquarters relocate to Abuja, capitals clusters around power. But in one region of the country, something extraordinary is happening. In Southeast Nigeria, in towns like Nnewi, Aba, Onitsha, and Umuahia, some of Nigeria's richest indigenous billionaires are doing the opposite. They are not exporting their factories. They are not relocating their headquarters. They are not abandoning their homelands. Instead, they are building at home. Their industries rise in Anambra. Their factories expand in Abia. Their warehouses multiply across Igboland. And in doing so, they are quietly reshaping Nigeria's economic geography. This is the story of 7 business empires: Innoson, Chicason, Ibeto, Coscharis Farms, Cutix Cable, Seahorse Lubricants, and Masters Energy. And the powerful truths they reveal: that Nigeria's richest Igbo billionaires are not just wealthy, they are rooted. This is the story of wealth that refuses to leave home. To understand this phenomenon, one must understand Igbo capitalism. Unlike business cultures built around proximity to government power, Igbo enterprise evolved around production, trade, and independence. Long before oil, before independence, before colonial infrastructure, Igbo traders built commercial networks across West and Central Africa, without state backing, without monopolies, without protection. After the Civil War, when the Southeast lay economically devastated, Igbo entrepreneurs had 2 choices: wait for rescue or rebuild themselves. They chose rebuilding. They financed their own industries. They created their own supply chains. They built their own infrastructure. And crucially, they kept their factories at home. Because in Igbo culture, wealth that leaves the land weakens the land. A man is not respected because he is rich. He is respected because he builds. And so, instead of migrating to Lagos, Igbo billionaires turned Nnewi into Nigeria's manufacturing capital, Aba into its industrial craft hall, and Onitsha into its commercial artery. What followed was not accidental success, it was deliberate economic strategy. In the industrial city of Nnewi stands Nigeria's first indigenous automobile manufacturing company, Innoson Vehicle Manufacturing, known simply as IVM. Founded by Innocent Ifediaso Chukwuma, Innoson began not in boardrooms, but in spare parts markets, where Igbo traders learned how supply chains truly work. But Chukwuma wanted more than trade. He wanted production. At a time when Nigeria imported nearly all its vehicles, he built something radical: a car factory in Anambra State. Not in Lagos, not near ports, not close to financial centers, but in Nnewi. Against enormous odds, power shortages, logistic constraints, financing barriers, Innoson succeeded. Today, IVM manufactures buses, trucks, SUVs, and commercial vehicles used by Nigerian military, police force, transport agencies, and private consumers. But more important than the vehicles is what Innoson represents. Proof that complex industrial manufacturing can thrive in regional Nigeria. Proof that indigenous companies can compete with global brands. Proof that Igbo billionaires do not merely accumulate wealth, they anchor it. Thousands are employed directly. Tens of thousands more are supported indirectly. And Nnewi is no longer just a trading town. It is Nigeria's automotive capital.
Well, I started business like others. I started business when I'm very young. Wow. Because I didn't have opportunity to go to university. I started learning business from child. As early as 18 years, I started with motorcycle spare parts. Wow. From motorcycle spare parts and joint motor spare parts.
Wow.
Yes. So that's why I'm into this field. I started when I'm young.
That's interesting.
Yes. So let me tell you the history very well so that I can understand it. When I come out of school, my brother took me to his own shop where he's selling medicine shop. And I worked with him for some time, and he found out that I have a quality that he will invest in me. He took me to Pius Madaka, the senior brother of Coscharis. Senior brother of Coscharis trained me on motorcycle spare parts. And after I learned the motorcycle spare parts, my brother bring money from his own shop and established the business for me.
Still in Nnewi stands another giant, the Chicason Group, founded by Dr. Alex Chika Okafor. Chicason is not one company. It is an industrial universe spanning manufacturing, pharmaceuticals, oil and gas, construction, logistics, and infrastructure. At its heart lies one of Nigeria's most extraordinary private developments, Chicason Industrial Estate, a massive industrial city built entirely by a private capital in Anambra State. Inside this estate are factories, refineries, pharmaceutical plants, warehouses, power systems, and logistic yards. Thousands work here daily. Engineers, chemists, pharmacists, technicians, logistics managers, and all of it built not in Lagos, but in the East. This is not symbolic, it is structural, because every factory built here trains workers, grows suppliers, stabilizes communities, and expands regional wealth. Chicason proves that billionaires do not need megacities to build mega structures. They need vision, and Chicason turned vision into industrial geography.
Well, the initial off-takers agreement we signed was for 100,000 housing units all over the federation. But we are starting with Abuja. Mr. President, through the Minister of FCDA, made land available for this project. So land has been given to us to develop this thing. So we are starting with about 25,000 houses in Abuja. We are almost set now. We are starting with the first site at Lube. So and then we have another site at Dede, and another one at boundary of Abuja and Nasarawa.
Another pillar of the Southeast industrial power is the Ibeto Group, founded by Chief Cletus Ibeto. Like many Igbo industrialists, Ibeto began in spare parts trading, but unlike most, he moved rapidly into manufacturing. Over decades, Ibeto expanded into automotive components, petrochemicals, cement production and packaging, energy distribution, industrial logistics. But then again, what matters most is where these factories are located. Not Lagos, not Abuja, but Nnewi and Anambra State. Ibeto's wealth is not abstract, it is physical. It stands in cement plants, in petrochemical factories, in manufacturing estates, in warehouses that employs thousands. Ibeto did not just grow rich, he grew industries. And in doing so, he helped turn the Southeast into Nigeria's most concentrated indigenous manufacturing zone.
Because you want to know how I started. So it became a business at that young age. In 1970, I was exactly to be 18 years, so 17 plus then. Okay, so doing business, I used that money, my brother, the proceeds from what my brother gave me to sell in coins, Nigerian coins. Then I was using it to buy Gary from Owerri and come down to Onitsha to sell it. I moved to Osaka to buy Iskede. You know Iskede? Don't wait there. Because none is left in Nigeria, in Biafra. So when you bring one Iskede, you divide it about 10 and start sewing it. You now generate multiple edits. It was moving.
When Nigeria hears Coscharis, they often think of luxury automobiles. But beneath Coscharis Group lies one of Nigeria's largest agribusiness empires. Coscharis Farms, founded by Cosmos Maduka, from rice cultivation and processing to maize production, poultry, dairy, and agro-logistics. Coscharis Farms represents Nigeria's shift from subsistence farming to industrial agriculture. And yet, despite national reach, the group retains deep operational roots in Southeast Corridor. This matters because agriculture employs more Nigerians than any other sector. Every hectare cultivated creates jobs. Every processing plant creates skills. Every storage facility stabilizes food supply chains. Coscharis did not build farm just for profit. It built food systems. And by anchoring them in the east, it turned rural land into industrial opportunities.
It was not wrong. I went to live with his parents and they taught me domestic work, how to climb pine tree, how to get up early in the morning, go to the farm, fish, food for the goat, take the lamb out to go and tie him and know how long rope you need to give him before you use it to commit suicide. Those things are training. Those things are training. I learned a lot. All of those things are part of my raw material for who I became in life. So I worked for my uncle for 5 years and a half with no salary, pro bono. That's what we call apprenticeship.
Yes, sir.
The best university I recommend for any young man to go. If you go through it successfully, there's no why you will not be successful. It's an informal university.
Electricity is the bloodstream of modern civilization. Without cables, power does not move, and one indigenous company supplies much of Nigeria's electrical backbone. Cutix Cable, founded by Dr. Obi Ajulu. Cutix manufactures power cables, telecom cables, and industrial wiring used across homes, hospitals, factories, and infrastructure projects nationwide. And yet, its production heart beats in Nnewi, Anambra State. Here, copper rods become kilometers of electrical wiring, tested, certified, and shipped across Nigeria and West Africa. Cutix did not merely replace imports, it built trust, because electrical infrastructure cannot fail, and Cutix proved that Nigerian manufacturing could meet global standard. From a factory floor in the southeast, power flows outward, prosperity flows inward.
Good evening and thank you for joining us on Capital Markets this evening. I'm Tempula Shaju. On the program this evening, one of the listed companies on the Nigerian Stock Exchange, headquartered with major operations in Nnewi, Anambra State, opened his factory to us on Capital Markets, and we'll bring you that interview during the course of the program. But the founder speaks about his listing experience and tells us his idea of corporate governance, thinking of what that could be, that company. Yes, your guess is as good as mine, but you have to wait for that interview along the line. Now, Cutix PLC was founded by engineer Azulu Uzodike in the 1980s, manufacturing cable and wire products of all sizes. Shortly after the establishment gained firm footing, it became listed on the Nigerian Stock Exchange.
Nigeria is Africa's largest oil producer, yet for decades, much of its petroleum value chain remained offshore. Seahorse lubricants changed that. Led by Ebuka Ononkwo, Seahorse is one of Nigeria's leading indigenous lubricant and petroleum product manufacturers. It does not just distribute oil products, it blends them, it packages them, it exports them, and it does all of this from Anambra State, in an industry traditionally concentrated in Lagos and Port Harcourt. Seahorse proved that oil sector manufacturing could thrive in the southeast. Its plant employs engineers, chemists, technicians, logistics specialists, and export coordinators, embedding oil wealth into local economies. This is not oil money. This is oil industry, and it is built at home.
Speaks.
By the Institute of Oil and Gas and Hydrocarbon Studies, where the latest award given for the best lubricating oil in Nigeria is given to Seahorse. And this particular award you recommended us for, we have won it also by so many other organizations.
Conducting the NTA team round his facilities, the CEO told the story of how from selling motor spare parts, he started importing lubricants from Dubai after denying himself of some luxury, to how he became a manufacturer. Though the company began full operations in Nigeria in 2017, it will be recalled that Seahorse was named Africa's Best World-Class Lubricant of the Year 2020. Seahorse One brand won the Best Synthetic Motor Engine Oil Brand of the Year 2022, among others.
The history of Seahorse started from Turkey. I was importing Seahorse from Turkey, and after some years, I had to come down to establish this industry in Nigeria.
If Seahorse represents petroleum manufacturing, then Master Energy Group represents energy infrastructure. Founded by Dr. Uche Oga, Master Energy has grown into one of Nigeria's most powerful indigenous downstream oil and gas conglomerates, operating tank farms, fuel depots, marine logistics, shipping networks, and energy trading systems. But unlike many oil giant headquarters in Lagos, Master Energy anchored its operation in Abia State and Southeast Nigeria. Here, massive fuel storage facilities stabilize supply chains. Here, logistic hubs power cities. Here, energy infrastructure embeds wealth into communities. Master Energy did not just trade fuel, it built Nigeria's energy backbone from the east. Across Nigeria, wealth usually moves outward from villages to cities, from cities to capitals, from capitals to offshore accounts. But in the southeast Nigeria, something historic has occurred. Wealth stayed. Innoson built automobiles from Nnewi. Chicason built industries and industrial cities from Anambra. Ibeto built manufacturing empires from Igboland. Coscharis built agribusiness systems from the east. Cutix built Nigeria's electrical backbone from Nnewi. Seahorse built petroleum manufacturing from Anambra. Masters Energy built energy infrastructure from Abia. Together, they proved something rare in modern capitalism, that wealth does not have to migrate to matter, that industry does not require megacities to succeed, that development does not demand abandonment of home. They built where they were born, they invested where they belonged, they grew where they stood. And in doing so, they reshaped Southeast Nigeria into one of Africa's most powerful indigenous industrial clusters, not by government decree, not by foreign capital, but by belief. Believe in people, believe in land, and believe in home. This is not just the story of Igbo billionaires, it is the story of wealth that refuses to leave home. Across Nigeria, wealth usually travels outward, from villages to cities, from cities to capitals, from capitals to foreign accounts. But in Southeast Nigeria, something historic happened. Wealth stayed. It stayed in factories. It stayed in jobs. It stayed in skills. It stayed in communities. Innoson, Chicason, Ibeto, Coscharis, Cutix, Seahorse, and Masters Energy. These are not just billionaires, they are builders. And this story is bigger than business. It is about what happens when Africans invest in Africa, when people build where they were born, and when development starts at home. If you believe Africa's real story deserves real documentation, then support 1010 Media by subscribing, sharing this video, and dropping your thoughts in the comments. Because the stories they don't want told are exactly the stories we tell. This is 1010 Media, and this is African Power Documented.